What's happening, everyone? 24 hours ago, I was streaming. You know what? I think I'm going to take tomorrow off. I say that. I swear to God, unless Richard tweets that he's making a wallet or something and incentive tokens can be used for it, I'm not streaming tomorrow. But however, today, I will finish this off with a good one. I think I had a different stream planned, but then Mr. Johnny Chaos, apparently I called him when he was typing at a keyboard or otherwise near an electronic device, and he decided that he would join me unconfirmably, and I was like, you know what? That sounded like a yes. It sounded like a yes. And turned out to be. So very cool to have Johnny on today. Always good to have you on. Last time I had him on was Hex Unaffected. He was on number 3 or 4. That was a great episode. That was really good. I love doing that series with some of the people who've been around for a while, the hardcore, diehard Hexicans, the ones that just love the different values and the different ways to earn money in this ecosystem, who just bear market, bull market, gopher market, doesn't matter. They're here. They're here. And they're here to win. That's what I like to do. Anyways, I'll get to chat in just a moment. Without further ado, welcome back to the show. Johnny K. Oh my gosh, he's got some bull horns.
I heard some of the ladies talking about being bullish in this community.
Are you bullish with a BOOL? Man, we were literally in the green room. I was like, man, how'd you get that Snapchat filter? He's like, no, these are real.
They're real. They were on my head.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing, man. Like,
Mr. Max.
Dude, I'm having an excellent Friday afternoon. I got to say, the sun's shining. I'm inside for some reason, and I think all the excitement, all the bullishness recently is just, you know what? I never needed the fuel in the bear market. The whole bear market I was streaming to, and in the bull market, I don't need the fuel, but the green and the number go up, and all the different verticals I'm seeing, there is extra fuel. I got to say, there's extra fuel on this fire called the PulseChain ecosystem. And hexes. And I did a tweet. I dreamed. Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. I actually dreamed that Hex did a 10x. I don't know if it's EHXPX, but Hex in general did a 10x. I dreamed it last night, like almost instantly. It was in that. You know what the first thought that came to mind was? I was like, no, my ladder. I don't have any liquid right now to do. I'm not saying I was going to sell or whatever either, but my first thought in the dream was, oh my gosh, it went up too fast. I don't have all my stakes haven't came out. Like I don't have all my ducks in a row. This is too fast. It went up too fast. Yeah, a good dream to have, man. Like, is it happening? Am I dreaming, or did that actually happen today?
No, it didn't happen today. And I mean, I find it interesting. Everybody's getting a little excited because we got a little bit of green. In all actuality, when you really kind of zoom out, we're still sideways. We are. This. I don't care what people think. That people are so beaten down that they think this is some kind of pump, and it's not. we're still sideways. We've been, Hex has been within like 0.003 of a dollar. The movement range has been like within 0.003 of a dollar for like 248 days. We went from 0.003 of a dollar up to 0.006 of a dollar difference. That's the difference, and we're talking thousands of a dollar. Coins didn't used to be in such large supply that we were talking about fractions of a penny movements and getting all excited about it. I mean, it's the same move, same money, but for normal people, these fractions of a penny just don't cut it for them. Plain and simple. You hit a penny, then you're real money. You hit a penny, you can see 2. You see 2 pennies. What's the difference between 2 pennies and 4? From the perspective of the new people that find that an acceptable normal range, we're talking about fractions of a penny still. We're talking about fractions of a penny move on Pulse and PulseX. It's exciting for us based on our bias of our personal positioning. So if we're buying at the absolute bottoms, yeah, you could be up at 3x, right? You can be up at 3 or 4x, if you were buying at the absolute bottoms, but nobody knows what we're talking about. They don't know why we're so excited. They don't get it. They don't understand, being up, being up like that, So there's certain things that I want to see before I actually really get excited. And that is, I'm watching the EX side. Why? Because that's where the doors are. That is where a majority of the entrances are. And I'm watching the doors. We will see. And yeah, I can speak with absolute. I don't care. We will see EHEX pump before the others do. And we will know that new money is coming in because that's the only hex they know about right now. The majority of people. And I know it's frustrating for everybody. You know, we've got this whole new network over here. We're excited about what's going on over here, but we are playing in our own little sandbox. Right now, we are really just literally playing in our own little sandbox, building our own little city over here in isolation, and waiting for people to come over the bridge and join us. So the second place I would be watching is the bridge. And we did see, some large players that are already in our system migrate some money over. So you can observe what we're observing is the players that are already in. We're not absorbing the players that are outside that will come in. You can't, that's an unknown. That's an unknowable. So we get very confident that things are going to stay just the way that they are, or they're going to increase a little bit based on what limited knowledge that we have about the outside market. So, you know, you've got like the whole sphere of the outside market is so much larger than you know, the little whales that are splashing around in our little ecosystem. There's so much more money outside. So the places to watch for that, of course, is the Ethereum side, and watching the other coins and how the other coins are doing in the normal mainstream crypto shows you the interest and activity and stuff that's happening there. And then secondly, then you would watch the bridge, and then it's going to see what's, you know, you could also watch Coast. So if you want to watch what's being bridged directly into the Pulse side that's avoiding the Ethereum side altogether, then you would watch the Coast and the money that they're printing and how they're growing. So I don't think we've started. I really don't think this is a start. I think this is kind of stagnation. I think the sellers are running out of power. I think the sellers are questioning on whether or not they really want to give up their positions right now. So that's why they're not slamming the button as hard as they want. So
that's an interesting perspective, though, just on, you know, a lot of people not even needing to know about PulseChain, or maybe they'll never really get into PulseChain, but they'll see Hex on the Ethereum side and think, oh, you know, is this thing still alive? Oh, wow, there's this whole community. People are still buying. There's still plenty of liquidity and otherwise. Do you think a lot of people is that the key to? There's all this, you know, EHEX, we should abandon it, or EHEX not going to do as well. There's always going to be
I
this.
thought we were over that already. Ethereum has 10 million users. We got a couple 100,000. Let's be realistic here for a second.
Let's do it.
Ethereum has 10 million users. We have a couple 100,000. Where is the money? I mean, it's dumb. It's like saying, okay, we're going to set up a mom and pop store next to Walmart and think we're going to outcompete them selling the same exact items. Okay. Yes, we have lower fees. Yes, we have a better system, but people will have to change their brand, and they're going to stick to what they're used to for the most part until they are forced out. And the other thing I was saying, yes, Ethereum fees are high, but guess what? As soon as Pulse starts to becoming a viable option, they will have to fix their gas fees. If they don't, they will lose market share to Pulse. And I'm pretty certain that the geniuses over at Ethereum that actually created what we forked already have a solution to the gas fees. Just so far, there hasn't been any viable option. So they have no reason to, you know, as long as you'll pay it, why are they going to drop their prices? You know, if you were running a business and you were selling an item and you could get $150 out of it, why would you start selling it for $2? That doesn't make any sense. You're only cutting into your own market share. So if you're the only person supplying, you know, smart contracts, and you know, nobody has a choice except to use your network because everything else is battered or broken, right? Then why would you reduce your costs? You wouldn't. You would take advantage of all that money possible. Now, if a competitor comes along and they offer the same options for a lesser fee, then that might force you to rethink your positioning and might force you to go, oh, wait a second. If people catch on about this thing over here that does the same thing we're doing over here, and yet it's less expensive, then yeah, you're going to lose market share. But until then, from the Ethereum standard, the Ethereum people have seen all the Ethereum killers come and gone. All the Ethereum killers have come and gone, right? Everybody had the next Ethereum. That was a narrative for like a whole cycle. Oh, we're the next Ethereum. We've got all this going on, blah blah blah, and they end up being ghost chains, and nobody ends up building over there. And Pulse has been ridiculous as far as development over there. Remember, Ethereum started with 0 apps, 0. Okay, 0 apps, 0 smart contracts, 0 products built on it. Ethereum started from 0. PulseChain has developed more in the past 8 months than any other chain has in the past 5 years.
Yeah,
got it.
Is that so just going with the Ethereum having all the users angle too? One day is that what, if there is something that makes HEX not go away but become less attractive or more of a discount or something, is it because PulseChain turns into that ETH killer, or that just way more users and all the other things come to fruition? Like, what makes Ethereum HEX be less attractive in the future?
I would say if I don't know, because it still works. The code still works, right? Mainstream is not going to go all PulseChain, right? So mainstream is still the Walmart greeters of the space. You have to really look to find the hexagons. You have to really look to find PulseChain. We are not the #1 listed thing. You have to keep in mind that the average person does not use the chain. So, people are like, well, Solana goes down every other month. Yeah, it does. Solana goes down every other month, but the price doesn't drop. Why? How is that even possible, right? Well, no one's using the chain. They're using Solana as a speculative instrument on centralized exchanges that are not using the chain. All they are using is their unit of account. So you're able to trade this coin for whatever amount it says that you're able to trade this coin for, but you're not actually using the chain. You're not using DeFi. You're not using the blockchain, right? So they can point to a chart and say, look, the price is doing great on Solana, but the chain doesn't work. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're not using the chain. You're just trading a proxy. It's like a stock. It's a flag that says, I like this coin, but you're not actually using the coin. Okay. You're not using the functionality of it. And that's fine, because most things on centralized exchanges don't actually have any utility except for pure speculation, right? So exchanges just are basically a notebook that keeps track of your units of account that they say that you own. And then until you extract your value out of that exchange, there's no engagement with the chain at all. So why we're drumming the drums and saying we're faster, we're better, we're cheaper. Well, guess what? People that are just using money on centralized exchanges, they don't know what gas fees are. They know what exchange fees are. That's what the exchange charges them to do swaps and stuff, okay? And they don't know what gas fees are because they're not actually utilizing the chain beyond that. So you got to keep in mind, retail market is not looking at things the same way we do as crypto users that are using things on the blockchain, developing and using this dApps and everything. They're not. And what is advertised most? Robinhood, Webull, Crypto.com, Coinbase. These are all things that are not actually utilizing the chain. They're just another custodian or bank. And people are already trained. When they come into crypto, they're like, okay, I've got my money. Who do I give it to? No. They don't understand crypto yet. But that's what they're coming in. They're coming in from that point where it's, okay, I've got my money. Who do I give my money to? Who do I give my money to get my crypto? Who's going to hold my crypto for me? What button do I push to view my portfolio? That's all I want to know, right? They haven't graduated to that point yet. Okay, so real DeFi, Sami likes to say, this is a cycle. DeFi is the cycle 2 narrative. I say bogus because I say DeFi got crushed at the very beginning. because of the fact that the Ethereum rates went up so much that anybody using an S-load function was totally stomped out from doing DeFi. You can't have $100 liquidity position if it costs you $120 to put it in, $120 to pull it out, right? So DeFi was completely stifled purposefully to force all of that volume, reported volume, I might add. By the way, the exchanges have what's called reported volume, which can be any number they want to make up and submit. There's a difference between reported volume and on-chain volume. And that's part of the reason why we get penalized greatly too, is because we are working against reported volume where they can pretty much make up whatever they want numbers and say, we're better than you because this is our reported numbers. And then what we look at is actual on-chain volume, which is the amount of transactions, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So we're talking about two totally different worlds here. And that's what's important.
And just on the Ethereum side too, I mean, it clearly has all the users right now. PulseChain has a long way to catch up. However, to getting Ethereum HEX on there, literally every time I go, I don't use Ethereum very often, but when I do, and I need to go to Uniswap or wherever, and I look and I see the freaking cancel sign beside the HEX token, I just want to go ballistic, and it irritates me, and it sends a signal to anyone I know. It's okay. I know it's the asset I want, but everyone else, you tell them about HEX and they go to Uniswap to buy it, they're going to see that and think, oh, it's canceled or something, right? Like, how do we get past all the gatekeeping to get people Ethereum HEX?
Well, we got to stop sending people to Uniswap, which is hard because we made Uniswap popular.
Yeah,
we did. I'm looking dead across the screen right now. We did make Uniswap popular. We were 40% of all Uniswap's volume for the first 3 months. Okay. And that is bullshit that they're doing this. Okay. We made Uniswap popular. We made MetaMask even more popular because most people were not downloading their own wallets and taking control of their own keys. In order to get HEX from the start, you had to learn how to download your own wallet from the start. And anybody starting out, we had to do our own wallets. You couldn't just click a button on Coinbase. You couldn't just click a button on crypto.com. You couldn't just go to Binance and buy it. Okay. You actually had to understand how to take possession of your own keys, create your own wallet, set it up. And you also had to learn how to add. Here's another point. In order to go to PulseChain, you have to know how to add your own RPC. You have to know how to add a custom RPC because it's not a default thing in MetaMask that automatically gives you PulseChain. You don't just get to select PulseChain. You have to be able to download it first. And there you go. So you have to add that information. You go to add your custom RPC in your MetaMask wallet, and then you would put in that information, and that will allow you to connect to PulseChain. And there's an add to MetaMask function right there at the top, which I guess if you just connect your wallet and you add that feature, it'll work too. Add to MetaMask. So that's a one click. But in the beginning, we didn't have a one click button. Now we made that easy. We made it the one click button where you could add the network to your wallet. But originally, when we did all the test nets, every time there was a new test net, we had to add a new custom RPC. So this is way beyond what your average crypto influencer, or not crypto influencer, but your average crypto user actually does, because 90% of these people, they're not actually using the chain. All right. They're in love with the ideals and the concepts and the hype of I don't know what the hype is exactly, because pretty much, you see the influencers talk about the coin. Oh yeah, they got a great team. Oh yeah, I see good things happening for this coin, and they really tell you absolutely nothing, right? And we've got full sites full of dynamics that actually explain all the functionality of the coin. And it's like trying to explain a platypus to somebody who's never even seen one before, because all they're doing is in the market of selling pet rocks. It's frustrating, man.
Is it a chicken and egg problem? Like all these things explaining how to get people into true DeFi, learn all the stuff that we know, be able to make the kind of money that we can clearly see is the opportunities right there. How do you, it's like, we need more people to do that, to get more people in, but also we can't get them over the hump to get into it, to do it in the first place. Like, is it just green candles and people just force themselves to learn once there's money in front of them?
Well, that is part of the thing. Yeah. You get the green candles, people get real interested in learning that, right? Nobody wants to buy anything that's under a penny. That's hard, guys. That is so hard. It's funny that, you know, we talk about the unit bias and how things have been broken down. And when Hex first started out, man, it was below a penny. And since it was below a penny, people thought it was a big joke. And now we have everybody's trying to make something to break the market cap metric, right? And that's part of Hex. It was designed to break the market cap metric because of the fact that it's so many units that if it were to reach $20, $30, that would just it would absorb all the market cap of the whole crypto space. You know, it would look phenomenally disproportionate to everything else if you actually use the supply times last price value, right? And now we've got a lot of stuff that is all multi, smaller, even greater, smaller units, and that just melts people's brains, man. Everybody wants to see pennies and dollars. They don't want to see fractions of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, right? It's the reverse problem. Like you don't want to pay 0.00001 Bitcoin for a coffee. You also don't want to own 10 billion of something that's only worth 4 cents. So you get that other option of things, right?
I thought we liked unit bias, Johnny.
Well, you could go extreme either way. You can go too much extreme the other way. You know, we've got things that are trillions of units, right? Trillion units is insane to have a trillion units of anything. And now we've got hundreds of trillions of units in like Pulse and PulseX. You know, so it's really hard for your average person to crunch those numbers and determine a real world value for those, because now you're at such an extreme of unit bias. But you also have to keep in mind this, right? One of the advantages of that is it is fractions of a penny. So gas prices are fractions of a penny. That's what helps there, right? It won't always be so, though.
That's true. Let's get to chat just a minute. Crypto elite. I wonder if Hex can die. To be honest, the ratios could just keep dropping forever. Ratios, interestingly, have been dropping. Everything else has been going up. Hex hasn't been keeping up. But what
he's probably looking against Hex against Ethereum or something, maybe. Because Ethereum is currently pumping.
Let me just put it in. So look at pulse ratio. So it's been going down. Hex on PulseChain versus PLS ratio going down. And then let's do this to wrapped ETH. It went down a little bit, but not nearly as much as on PulseChain though.
Yeah, I after watching months of data, I realized that the 200-to-1 was a bit hot, and I put it out there that I was talking about it getting down to about 100-to-1, because if you think about it, that's a lot. That's still a lot. A Hex is worth a lot of Pulse. So if you got a penny Pulse, you got $1 Hex with 100-to-1. Because if one Hex can be traded for 100 Pulse and Pulse is a penny, that's $1. So at $2 or at 200-to-1, that's $2. So I think Pulse is going to pump, and I think that ratio has to tighten up, so it just doesn't get ridiculous. Can you imagine if Hex was like 1,000 Pulse, and then Pulse went up to a penny? That'd be pretty extreme, right? So yeah. It has. I think it has to tighten up.
Do you think the liquidity bonding will be a major player in that, or is it just people are more interested in buying the newer thing, PulseChain and PulseX versus Hex these days, and the newer people in the ecosystem right now, at least?
You know what is happening in our ecosystem? Everybody's got 2 cups, and they're taking their cup and they're dumping it into the other cup. They're doing this. They're moving around. They're trying to pick the one winning horse. They're dumping. You know, this is all the activity that we're seeing is in-house. That's what I'm saying. You want to see outside activity, then you need to watch the bridge and you need to watch the Ethereum side. That's the outside activity. What you're observing with the stuff that's going on in PulseChain right now is the players that are already in. Okay. So if you watch the bridge, you see people bridging over. You know, Bridge Buddy would be a good thing to watch too, because those are new wallets that are being made. Okay. So that would kind of give you maybe an indicator of new people or new interest coming in. the dollar level of those new people coming in. Because again, guys, there are Ethereum whales out there that haven't made that bridge yet. There are Ethereum whales out there that make the God whale look small. Okay. So no disrespect to the God whale, but that's the fact. You know, there are very large players that have not acted yet that may act or may not act, but they're there. They exist. They exist in every coin.
Just wanted to put up this new link too. I've seen Gold Key talking about it as well, and he was shared this. So PulseChain, basically another way of looking at the bridge, a different breakdown. Very interesting.
Hey Jeff, that would be cool if anybody actually gave a shit about Hex in the first cycle. So Hex is cool, but it's the second time around. Well, everybody hated it the first time around. Nobody knew what it was the first time around, right? Nobody gave it a chance. That's the thing, right? If something doesn't even get off to a start, and everybody thinks it got off to a start because they think 10,000x was the limit. There's no limit. You eliminate the concept of market cap because you know it's bogus. You know that I can make a coin right now, so I can make 1 trillion coins and sell one to myself for $1. Now I have a coin with $1 trillion market cap. And as long as I don't sell any more coins, I now have $1 trillion market cap. Okay. And that's how some of these things are rigged. That's how a lot of these things are rigged, because actually only 10% or less of the supply is actually circulating. Most of it is held 90% by the founders or whatever little ratio stuff they want to put on the chart. I went through a whole thing on this, on how bogus this thing actually is. But the thing is, we didn't get off to a start. We did what we did under the highest level of scrutiny and being hid on the main websites, not being talked about, influencers not being allowed to talk about it. And just now they're aware that it's there, right? So I like to go back to this. Okay, there was this game called Magic the Gathering, and there were box sets of Arabian Nights sitting on the shelf, and they had like 60 boxes on the shelf that sat there for 6 months. 6 months. Anybody could have walked up there and bought them for $40 a piece. And there were like 48 packs or something like that in a box. And guess what each one of those packs is now worth? About $5,000. So you could have bought a pack or box of 48 packs for $40, and now each one of those packs is worth like $5,000. So, I mean, what happens is, if nobody knows what it is, nobody knows what it does, nobody's interested in it at that time, it can sit on the shelf for quite some time before all of a sudden it's gone. It's gone, and now it's a popular thing. And we didn't buy into this game, the Magic game, as a collector's item in any capacity or way or shape or form. Okay. We bought into the game because it was something to do and we liked to play it. It was interesting. It was new. Okay. What we didn't understand was the amount of demand that was going to come into the market and how it was going to catch on later. We never saw that. We were playing Iron Man Magic. You know what that means? That means when you lost a card or a card was removed from the game, you literally tore up the card and threw it away. That's how little we valued it at the time.
Wow.
Okay. It was silly. It was fun. You could always go back to the store and you could always buy more until you couldn't, until it became popular, until it took off, until it was outside of our little bitty group that we thought we were just playing a game, became a financial investment for a lot of people, where tournaments were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in fact, one of the Magic tournaments, or was a StarCraft tournament, that was giving away Bitcoin. So you could win free Bitcoin going to these Magic tournaments as a consolation prize, because Bitcoin wasn't valued, right? It's like there was a competition or something where they gave away like 100 Bitcoin as a consolation prize, and really, when you look at that now, the people that lost won. One big, can you imagine getting 100 Bitcoin for a prize? So wow. You got to keep in mind, guys, it takes years for things to catch on. It takes years for them to catch on. I don't believe in this we're a cycle 2 narrative, we're dead, because I don't think we ever started. I don't think we were anywhere near where we can possibly go because we were so suppressed. Period. I think that was a false start. That's my opinion on the matter. Take it for what you will.
Yeah, there's so many different variables on it too, because it's like, I mean, there's what makes it interesting. There's so many pieces back and forth. You could say, okay, we had Hex started with much less liquidity and much less people, and sort of grew from that. PulseChain stuff launched with, you know, $1 billion sacrifice, a lot of sell pressure over years and years, and then just the ratios going up and down, like we talked about, going from 200, maybe it settles at 100 or something. Even then, it's still a cool thing to say, like, you know, PulseChain hit the penny, Hex is a dollar, that sort of thing, right? So, man,
okay,
I don't know.
Max, if you eliminate market cap, why can't Hex do what Bitcoin did? Give me an argument while Hex cannot do what Bitcoin did if there's no market cap. Can you think of anything? I mean, if you believe in market cap as a limiter, the conversation's kind of over, right? Because you could say, oh, the market cap's too high, can't go up there.
Right? I think the one reason I could remove market cap, not as a limiter, not that there's no limit, I guess, but as a way of not representing things properly, is because every meme coin you see that gets like $1 billion, $5 billion valuation, it doesn't make any sense. So why can't good projects get a high market cap in the same way and be sustainable when meme coins can do that, and you know, their value prop is much less. That's the biggest factor for overcoming.
In their mom's basement, right? And they can have millions of dollars of valuation. Does that make any sense to you whatsoever? So the market cap is an arbitrary number that's unachievable. So even Bitcoin, you can't sell $1 trillion worth of Bitcoin. You can't sell $1 billion worth of Bitcoin without substantially affecting the price. Okay, so it's not a good metric. The metric is, you know, first of all, you can divide by 10 because only about 10% of everything's actually circulating. Once you come to that conclusion, you realize, first of all, you have to divide the market cap by 10, and you would have to do that for everything, because if you don't do it for everything, then you're comparing apples to oranges. You're not comparing everything to the same disadvantage, right? So it's just not. It works as a metric when comparing like things to like things, but Hex is not like other things because it does have functionality. It has, you know, it has a truth engine. It has a dynamic deferred inflationary model. You know, it is very different than these other things. So you can't really compare it. And since you can't, what did the market cap sites do? It's like being an advantaged player and getting tossed out of a casino. That's what Hex is. Hex is an advantaged player. They're kicking it out of the casino.
Like a 200 IQ advantage player?
Do what?
Like a 200 IQ advantage player or a card counting advantage player?
Card counting advantage player, right? So we're market cap. We're able to surpass the market cap because the way that it's built. Okay. So we basically got kicked out of casino for being an advantage player. That's really what it comes down to. The industry has kicked us out because Hex has advantages that other coins don't. Period.
Dude, what do you think is going to be the biggest catalyst for Hex coming up? Is it literally just everyone funneling into PulseChain are going to see this is the better Bitcoin, or like the liquidity pulling everything up, the benevolent whales, God wills back on Twitter? You know, we've seen the OA make some moves with some spare change. I think that was made from the stablecoin stuff before. That wasn't even part of the sacrifice, I don't think. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like that was like spare change on the side compared to what's out there to be deployed. What do you think is going to be the catalyst for Hex coming up?
I think everybody needs to go out there and tell their friend to throw $100 in and leave it there, act like it's burnt and it's gone, and leave it for a couple years and see how it works out. That's what I think. Each one teach one. That will work. Not this God whale's got to come in or this high value has to come in. Why do we want another large whale having a large position to loom over our heads? Wouldn't you rather, you know, have more of the position yourself? I mean, it becomes the same sort of problem with the Bitcoins praising the institutions, right? They want the institutions come in and buy up all their bags off them. That's great. That's great. Buy off all the bags. Okay, cool. So you can exit. Are you sticking around? Are you planning to build? I mean, what about the people that could use this mechanism, right? What about the people that want to earn some sort of passive income? Why can't we market to the people that want a savings account and they're done with the gambling and the bullshit, right? Uh, Not everybody wants to gamble. Some people like to collect, right? So why can't we market it more towards the collectors and less towards the gamblers? I think that would help. I think, I think we're not in the right market because we're in a market where everybody wants to gamble. They don't want to learn to save. They don't want to listen. They don't want to think about their future. They want to know what their next hit's going to be. They need that dopamine hit to keep them going. That's not what Hex is designed for. Hex is designed as a savings account, like a 401k, an IRA, something long term. Something that you put your money away in and earn more, because you're not earning more dollars on your dollars. Your baby gold bars and your baby silver bars aren't making more baby gold bars and silver bars. Okay. Your real estate properties need upkeep and repairs. All right. This is something you can do, set aside, forget, and just earn yield. I think it's a great item. And I think eventually it will catch on when people are aware what it is and they're not scared off because they don't understand it, or they're not scared off because we overcomplicate it, or they're not scared off because we try to force all of our knowledge down their throat in 5 minutes to make sure they understand everything. So they go, oh, that's too complicated, I quit. That's what we got to do.
How do we get people staking? Because, a lot of people staked 18 months, 2 years and stuff.
I don't want them to stake. I like my stakes just the way they are. They cannot stake all they want.
So don't be selfish. People want to earn passive income.
But no. Well, the funny thing is, how do we learn to stake to begin with, RH? Because first of all, Hex staking is not the same website as the Hex main website. You can't stake it on an exchange. You actually had to find that there was a secondary site to even know how to stake your Hex in the very beginning. It wasn't easy. So Hex is not designed to reward the lazy. It's designed to reward the diligent. If they want to just buy it as a typical meme coin and treat it like a meme coin, it's going to behave like a typical meme coin. It's like if you buy Hex and you don't stake it, you're basically taking an RC car that has batteries and remote control and you're going pushing it around. Am I doing this right? No, you're not doing it right. You might as well just buy anything. In fact, if you're not going to use Hex right, go buy something else. If you're going to treat it like everything else, it's going to act like everything else. So don't bother buying it. I don't see a point. It's probably not going to pump just like everything else that everybody's FOMOing and jumping into, right? It's probably not going to act that way, and that's fine. Everybody's got a different reason for what they do, and you just got to be honest with yourself. Are you saving or are you gambling? And if you are gambling, wouldn't you like to have a little bit of savings on the side to counteract what you may lose while you're gambling? I mean, it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's one of those products where I feel like it's so easy. When people trade Hex, it just never made sense to me. I know a lot of people do it. A lot of great traders out there that make a lot of money. I'm sure they've been making money the entire bear market too, a lot of them. But it just never struck me as a product that I want to trade. I want to accumulate it, and I want to make passive yield from it. That's the whole point. I want to burn it, and the contract pays me back more over time, and laddered out, and not where I'm always holding the bag in the top of the bowl either, but like laddered out in a way where I can choose and do what I want with it whenever the things come up. So how do we benefit from the misuse of Hex then? Like, how do we get people in who don't know how to use it, who are probably never going to use it correctly, but also they're able to participate and again bring that new money in, where we're not just trading it between the people who know what they're doing this entire time.
Green candles. visibility, accessibility, affordability. So this is where that argument comes in, right? This is where the argument comes in. We're DeFi. Okay. We are true DeFi. We don't need centralized exchanges. We don't need proper listings. We don't need this. We don't need that. I'm going to be the crazy guy in my house with tons of guns and say, we don't need the world. Screw you, government. And then they're going to send a drone and bomb my house. So I'm good. All the guns in the world and all the sass and frass and talk will do you. If, the government wants to take you out, they're going to take you out. Right. So, it's funny. We can't just stand here and try that. Now it's great to have that idea that we are changing the paradigm and the way we're utilizing crypto in the way that it was meant to be used to begin with and everything else. But unfortunately, the control right now is still people believe that they believe in the banking system. Okay. They might be upset with the banking system, but they're used to the banking system. So when people come over to crypto, the first thing they're going to do is look for something that is familiar to them, that isn't all that strange. They're not looking for an alternative financial system. They are looking for something as close to what they're already familiar with, right? If you go to a restaurant, you're going to order what you're familiar with, right? Because you don't want to gamble on getting something strange or weird, right? You're just like, okay, well, all right, I'll just take the hamburger. That's fine. I'm comfortable with that. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So you got to understand that people entering crypto do come in through the centralized exchanges because, first of all, that's what's allowed to be advertised. That's what's in their face. That's the lowest barrier to entry. That is the easiest thing for them to do. And then step two is to go into these centralized wallets and own their own keys. And then step three is to learn the decentralized dexes. And then step four would be to understand liquidity providing. Step five would be to understand, being able to set limit orders and range liquidity, right? So you've got all these different steps, but step one continues to lead people initially to these centralized exchanges. So do I believe that we need to be on centralized exchanges in order to survive? No, because there are people that are already at a certain education level in crypto that have the ability to find what they're looking for if they look for it. Okay, so we are not on Uniswap anymore, at least not their front end. All the smart contracts and everything are still there, but you have to go through ETHHex.com, which is a different front end for Uniswap, because their front end is hiding hex. They're looking at it as it's not an option. You're not allowed to buy it there. They obstruct it. They're purposely obfuscating it. Coin market cap still, even though they're still in suit, mind you guys. I was talking about lawsuits taking forever. Guess what? The lawsuit's been still going on. It's changed plaintiffs. It's changed jurisdiction. It keeps going on. These legal things can take forever. Okay. So, and they've been dodging this the whole damn time. So they're not going to do it. They're not going to fix it. Hex is fundamentally damaging to the way that things are done. They want to drive your money to centralized exchanges. They want you to go to their website so that you can be hit with their sales ads and the coins that they want to put top of the list. Okay. They don't want you to learn. All right. So back to what I was saying about the centralized exchanges, though, the centralized exchanges, you have to think of that as like a sign in a yard for your favorite political person. Okay. To be on the exchanges is basically like a sign in the yard for your favorite political politician that you want to win. You want to be seen. You want to have brand awareness. You want it to be recognized. Because to the 90% of people that don't really understand crypto, that are just using this crypto on the centralized exchanges, all that money can't participate because they're not at an education level enough where they can participate yet, but they know how to click buy. Okay. So what that does is that creates a certain familiarity. Okay. And if they look even deeper later, then they can learn how to use the system and everything else. But you have to get them some. You have to get them in the door first, right? Because there are all these extra levels of complexity that just throw people off. You can't expect everybody to know what you know. And our community is 2 to 3 years ahead of mainstream. So that's like being 2-3 hours before a party, before the party's even started, right? And a lot of people get mad and leave because the party hasn't started yet and they think it sucks. So that's the pains you're going to pay for being early.
That's why you got to pull out the magic cards and then play that iron game where you rip them up. Entertain yourself in the meantime.
And the media in the crypto space too. Nerd Girl was talking a little bit today or the other day with Jay Chains about the media, the crypto media. The crypto media is just as bad as like our regular media. The government controls our regular media, right? Well, the crypto space controls, Cointelegram and Cointelegraph, and they're basically writing the pieces that they're told to write. They create the narrative. Okay, so you're not actually getting news. You're getting the narrative that they want to project and create. So all this, it requires a new system because traditional crypto, now it's traditional crypto. Okay. It's becoming institutionalized. What do you call these ETFs? What do you call this? Cheering institutional investors. It's becoming institutionalized. When it becomes institutionalized, it makes it more centralized. It means that big banks are coming in and they own it and you don't. You're back in the same position. The reason crypto was created to begin with was to get rid of the middlemen, to get rid of the banks, to bring the power back to the people. Okay. And now, because it's becoming so corrupted, we've had to go off and do our own thing. So do we think that we're going to get resistance? Of course we're going to get resistance. Why? Because they're just now getting their grips on the crypto and they think they got this thing under control. And here we go. And we're trying to promote decentralization and people owning their own coins. Do you think they're going to let that slide? Of course not.
They want to own our coins. That's what I heard. We own nothing and we'll be happy though, Johnny.
And all right, beyond saying BankX is not holding down our price. The fear of BankX is holding down our price. If we just keep buying and BankX keeps selling, BankX gets absorbed. There are a lot of people. I know people with more money than BankX that are literally waiting for them to sell so they can get a better price. And they're not going to set limit orders. They're going to be lazy and they're going to sit on the sidelines and they're going to wait until BankX sells, which they may or may never sell, right? Or if they do sell, it's going to be so significant that it's just going to get eaten right up and nobody's even going to notice. Just one day people are going to go, well, shit, they're empty. Now what? Then we pick another villain. Let's go pick another wall and say, okay, this guy's selling.
DO1. Everybody keeps talking about DO1.
DO1. I think he's out, isn't he?
I don't think so. I think he's still got some.
He's not out of Pulse yet. I think he's out of HEX.
I just every time I look at this meme, I just can you imagine, Andy Reid's there and his player is yelling, Richard Hart was right.
Right.
Can you imagine? If you're a football coach in Super Bowl and a player yells that in your face, how do you respond?
You break his nose.
You take him. So you take him out, like figuratively or literally, or oh, Andy Reid. He used to coach the Eagles. I don't know much about football, but I used to accidentally watching ESPN from time to time. Oh yeah, somebody's talking about this job. That was interesting. To grow 100x, PulseChain only needs 2 million holders. Do you think we're getting 2 million holders, man? Anytime soon?
Why not? Shitty game apps get 2 million users, right? So think about this, again, Ethereum's got how many users? 10 million. Okay. We've got like 800,000 wallets right now. So we're on our way to our first million. Can we 2x it? Everybody's worried about the first million. What about the second million users that come in? What about
if each one of those told another person about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's just it. That's how easy network effect is. Each one teach one. Each one teach one. Get your buddy, and make him get $100 in, or give him $100 worth. High rollers out there, say, hey, buddy, I'm going to give you $100 worth, and you watch it. Whatever you got to do, you got to make an effort,
and selling a 2x.
Whatever, whatever. I mean, whatever works for them. But I mean, you got to be able to teach one, right? Everybody wants to wait around for somebody else to pump their bags for them, right? Everybody wants us to stream all the time and educate everybody. Okay, well, I've done my onboarding, guys. I've done plenty of onboarding. Okay, I've sat with a bunch of people and walked them through the program. I've done my onboarding. I've downloaded MetaMask wallets for people. I've set them all up. I gave them starter money to work with. I've done my part. Have you? Each one teach one, guys. You go from 200,000 to 400,000. Very simple. By each one teach one. You go from 400,000 to 800,000. By each one teach one. That's how it works. You don't need some big whale. You don't need the OA. You don't need anything. What you need to do is not be scared and get your position in and get your friends a position in so that they have it. Stop worrying about whether or not you're overpaying or if it's going to go down 20% or whatever, because you better have a damn ride on the bus when the bus leaves, because when it leaves, you ain't getting a ticket.
Sorry. I was cracking up at that. You were saying you were saying about onboarding, and he said you like getting flashbanged.
Flash paint.
Oh, it's sorry, it's cracking me. I just imagine you're like Johnny, you're like onboarding, you're like having a conversation, you're onboarding somebody. All of a sudden, the SWAT team shows up and starts flashbanging. Take him down. He's telling people about true DeFi. Take him down.
Yeah, that could happen. Who knows?
Oh man, you guys broke me today. You get that comment. That's the funniest one I've seen so far. Sorry to interrupt, Johnny. I mean, I also flash back this picture because I imagine the Kansas City chief player was also onboarding Andy Reid in that moment. I like to think that.
You're a sports person, man. I'm not much of a sports person.
I'm trying not to be. I'm telling you, every time I make a comment about football, there's about 6 people in the chat who either correct me or give me more information. It's pretty it's accidental for sure. All right, one more topic while we get here. Shout out to Gold Key, killing it out there, creating content. Almost doing as much as Johnny Chaos. Just kidding, guys. You guys are both rocking out there.
Mexican there he's like changed the narrative. Yeah, Hex is a savings account, not a lottery ticket. That's very true.
Sure where that one's at.
It's at the bottom. Hexy McHexican says, yeah.
Gotcha. I like that name too. Hexy McHexican. Nice.
I wonder where I heard that before. Hex is a savings account, not a lottery ticket. I do my best work when you guys repeat it. That's when I do my best work.
Have you watched hundreds of hours of Richard Hart talk?
Yeah, I've seen everything that he's ever put out there.
I'm with you.
But the thing is, it's like people give you shit and they say, oh, well, you're just repeating what Richard said. It never occurs to people that Richard's just speaking what a lot of people think that just haven't come forward. It doesn't occur to people that they think everybody's a Richard puppet. I don't agree with everything Richard has to say, especially when it comes to about well, anyway, we don't need to get in that. But
he always unsolicitedly shits on America and different stuff all the time. I'm like, what? Yeah. I never understand the benefit of doing that, because most of us are Americans. I know there's plenty who aren't, but it's always funny when he goes on Fresh and Fit and like talking about like all the. Anyways, I'll get into it. But yeah, that's one thing I'm always confused why he acts like everything is like Central Florida. It's like, no, it's not. I don't. That's one thing I don't agree with him on. I'll say that.
Right. And Alan, I got a YouTube channel. I got a YouTube
Kansas
channel.
City.
I don't post anything there.
One day you'll become an influencer. No, I won't. Not like I was gonna say like me, not like me. I try not to, but apparently.
You go into the Pulse conference. That's everybody now is in my inbox going, you go in the Pulse conference? No, I'm not spending any money while these prices are down. Are you kidding me?
I'm not sure it'll be for sale for you. I believe they'll let you in for free, Mr. Chaos. I mean, I guess travel costs. But
Well, I still gotta buy a plane ticket. I gotta rent my room. You know, I'm not spending money while these prices are down. No, I'm gonna put my money in, not take it all out.
you think I should sell this Burberry bear? I should. Got to be worth something, right? We're in the bull market now, so
part with the bear.
I got 4 of them, so I'm not sure. I could keep one and then afford the plane. Now I'm going to be there regardless. But Burberry, one day I may trade you in for $1 million if you're ever worth that much.
No, guys, I did spend money. I did spend money. I flew out to the New Orleans event on my own dime and came out and met people there. I went to the Hex conference that Maddie threw. I paid my $369. Okay, and I got my room and I hired a camera guy to go with me to film it so I didn't forget it. It's like, damn it, if I'm going to go do this thing, I'm going to remember, because it helps, because there were a lot of people that I met that I didn't even remember that I met because it was such an overwhelming event. I don't regret doing it. I went to the opening of Hexy's Animal Hospital that was in Illinois to be there for their grand opening event, where one of the whales donated $2 million to open up a vet clinic. So, you know, I've tried to go to these events and do things. But again, you know, I'm spending my money to go travel because people want to meet me. It's kind of weird to me. It's like, if you guys want to meet me, well, you know, I could just set up an event and say, okay, here I am, come see me here. But I don't know. I still don't understand that. I still don't understand that concept, why anybody wants to meet me. You got me right here on your screen, you know, more than most people even want me here. So
I think strong relationships are forged by looking someone in the eye and telling them how much and how long they're staked. So pure speculation. But Alan says we're going to run a sacrifice for you called Johnny Token in you. Oh man, Johnny Token in you. Yeah, PulseChain Tour. I will be there to answer your question. Apparently, the VIP is sold out in Vegas. That's pretty cool. Yeah, they managed to sell it out. This year, I think it's going to be a lot better. A lot more people coming than last. Last year was great. But I think you know, where market conditions are better, people don't feel nearly as broke. The gradual broke syndrome has turned into sudball syndrome fears of, at least. So sold out in Vegas. Pretty cool.
Yeah, the other thing is, you know, again, it's kind of weird because, like, you know, if you are a part of the events, you know, people will pay to go to these events because you're there. And I also don't want people to spend their money when they should be probably buying crypto right now too, you know? So there's kind of that weird effect too. It's like, I don't want anybody spending their money to come see me. I want you to put your money into the crypto while the prices are low. Because that's just it, guys, right? So you missed a 5x. You know how you missed a 5x? Because people were not buying PulseX at the very bottom. So if you get a 10x in PulseX now, you got a 10x instead of a 50x because you missed that first 5x. You see how that works? Wow. So that's why it's so important to say, okay, buy these bottoms while they're bottoms, because you could lose a 5x. You're not getting to go back and buy Pulse at what is it, 1/10 of a or 1/100th of a penny. You could literally have bought it at 1/100th of a penny. Think about that. You know, and then
I think PulseX went down to around that, and then I think Pulse went down to 3. I want to say 3, but yeah, the point being, yeah, buying at the all-time low versus buying in the middle before it does its run up is astronomical. You can't even imagine how much more profitable buying it down low.
3x on your 10x and a 5x on your 10x. So people that are going to get a 10x are going to get a 10x instead of a 50x, or a 10x instead of a 30x. That's why it's so important. So, you know, when you're feeling that pain and you're like, oh, I can't take any more, a little bit can make a big difference at those all-time lows. Because new people coming in, they're not coming in, they don't have your pain. So anybody who bought that low is up 3x, is up 5x. The people that bought that low, they have no pain. If they only bought that low, they have no pain. None of that experience. None of that. They're
It's
coming
not fair,
into
Johnny. It's not fair.
It's not fair. But it is fair because you had the same opportunity as everybody else did. You chose not to do it. Why? Because you felt the pain. You let your pain get in the way of your conviction because you're like, oh, screw this. I'm not going to buy it. But you'll complain about somebody else having the opportunity, right? So that's what it is, man.
Dude, I think we covered today. Really good stuff. Always good to see you. Thanks for hopping on and just spouting a bunch of just unorganized gems. Very, very good.
Unorganized chaos. Is that where you're going with that?
Professor Chaos is what
is there a way to kind of bring this in to where it's a little bit more streamlined and it makes a little bit more sense to people? Or are they going to have to? Good luck watching this back at 2x speed, guys.
Well, that's why I spend hours and hours on clips and thumbnails, sir. That's why I often do that. Get the people the information they need. Johnny Chaos, what do you want to take us out on, man?
Hey, guys, take advantage of the position you're in right now. This is not it. We haven't even started. I think it's funny that everybody's like, oh boy, we're getting ready to go. We've been getting ready to go for the past year, guys. We've just been moving sideways. Take that chart, zoom the hell out, realize that this is just a spring that's been coiled and coiled and coiled and coiled and coiled. I am so exhausted of all this coiling. I'm not even watching the charts. I'm not even paying attention to anything. I got my position set. I'm good. You should be set and good too. And be ready because some things are going to happen. If you wait last minute, you're going to get screwed. I'll tell you how you're going to get screwed. If you think that you're going to shovel money in because you're going to go through the centralized exchange, guess what? You're going to be waiting 7 to 10 days to get your money out of the centralized exchange. They're going to get so much volume that people are going to start bitching that there's 7 to 10 day wait on their money.
Definitely use wire transfers on that.
So by the time the price actually moves and you get your money in there, those prices are not going to be there anymore. Now the bridge can also get clogged again. It can get congested because people decide, oh, the green candles are over there. So they're all going to try to jump on the bridge all at the same time. We know what this looks like, guys. We've been through it. Yep. Okay. So you've got exchange congestion. You've got bridge congestion. And then you've got the prices moving away from you on another chain, and you're not going to have time to catch them. And that's where you're going to get screwed. And then, like I said, you miss that first 5x, your 50x becomes a 10x. Just as a result of that delay that's there, that lag in the networks that you will experience. So when you want to know when we're actually really getting started, start watching for people to complain about waiting 10 days to get their money off Coinbase. Watch for the bridge to start to get congested. Watch for the Ethereum side coins to start really moving. Okay. Then you're going to know that retail is starting to come in. Okay. Right now, we are still looking at the key players that are building their position and their posturing on the PulseChain side. They're just building their positions and posturing. That's all you're witnessing right now. This is not the pump yet. This is the preparation for the pump. Okay.
Preparation pump.
Hold on to your hats because we're not there yet. I know I keep saying it's coming, but we're not there yet. Okay. Hold. Watch very carefully. Watch for the things I told you to watch for. Then you'll know when we're really starting to prime the system. Okay.
Hodl, buildle, all this. Yeah, I've totally removed ACHs, like wire transfer. I'm not dealing with any kind of weight like that. Bridge, though, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Like you said, the bridge getting backed up, or just the volume, the transactions. You're going to get gas fees. You're going to maybe be nuts and stuff too. So
there's hundreds of millions of dollars in stable coins that have not deployed yet. Okay, there are hundreds of millions of stable coins that have not deployed yet. You got to keep that in mind. They are closer to the money source. They are ahead of you when you decide that you're going to make a move across that bridge. They're already ahead of you. They're one step in. They've already got their money in crypto. They're waiting to start play whack-a-mole with those green candles. Okay. So you're starting at a disadvantage if you think you can wait. If you haven't been building your position over time, you're starting at a great disadvantage because those prices can move away from you so quick.
I'm excited, man. I feel like I'm well positioned, knowledgeable. I feel like I have an information edge because I get to talk to people like you, pick your brain and just be around the community. And, one day I reserve the right. One day you may never see me again. I'll buy that island. But until then, hopefully we continue to provide some value on this channel. No monetization, free content. You cannot pay me and I cannot pay you. And that's the way we like it. Anyways, everyone, that's all we got for you today. Johnny Chaos, CCFX Studios on Twitter. He doesn't do much YouTube, but if you want, search for him on there. And you know what to do on this channel. Scivive and 5555. We are out.